Governor Bill Ritter also does not like you to be able to know what he thinks and says. He was recently at the University of Denver University. He was there in a classroom speaking to students, and there was someone there videotaping, and Bill Ritter responded to it. And let's just say that Bill Ritter wasn't much too pleased about the situation.
Who is taping it? David, you guys are taping it, and for any purpose?
Just kind of documenting politics in Colorado.
It's a pretty interesting thing, this taping thing, right? Because you can put it on YouTube and pretty much capture what people say. We live in this really interesting time in the state, I think, and maybe in the country. And technology can be our friend in terms of accessing information, but it also seems to me that it's helping to polarize us in a sense. And I'm going to start some of my remarks about how difficult I think it is to really have rational public policy discussions, in part because of the polarized environment that we're in.
Now, I'm just curious, Governor Ritter, what environment would you prefer? Do you prefer an environment where no one disagrees with you? Is it your goal to make sure that opposition to your policies is toned down while support for your policies is raised? And where did this problem with the polarized environment, when did you start getting so up in arms about it? I'm just curious, Governor Ritter, and I'd love to see this in the Denver Post tomorrow. Will you denounce MoveOn.org for calling General Petraeus General Betray Us? Will you make a public pronouncement of that? I'm curious, Governor Ritter, will you talk about the partisan nature of Tim Gill, Jared Polis, and Pat Stryker, who were running commercials against Marilyn Musgrave a few years back and saying that she was stealing from dead people, and they had her portrayed in front of a casket at a funeral, taking things off of a dead body? Do you find that polarizing? I'm curious if you'll denounce Pat Stryker for funding the 527 that ran those ads. I'm just curious. Well, Bill Ritter goes on about all this bipartisanship and how lovely it is.
I think we're seeing this in Washington, D.C. We experience it here in Colorado. We've been able to do some things, and some important things that I think are great, sort of 21st century things, but it's pretty hard to do that, and particularly to do it in a bipartisan fashion. We've had some luck, and when I say we, Democrats, since I was elected, we've had some luck in getting support that was bipartisan outside the building. But inside the building, quite frankly, it's been more difficult. And we need to figure this part of it out. As a country, I think we need to try and get to a place where we understand that there has to be common and shared goals,
Yeah, well, but here's the problem, Governor Ritter. Who determines what the common and shared goals are? Is it something you determine? Barack Obama determines? Is it the congressional delegation or the state legislative delegation of Democrats that determines that? Will you reach across the aisle to get that determination? Oh, here's a thought, Governor Ritter. I know how we can find common and shared goals. Let's start with the Constitution. That would be really good. So, for example, when you're flouting the Constitution, signing a bill into law which raises taxes by freezing the mill levy, and then getting a Supreme Court decision in support of that, which was a tax increase, would that be a common and shared value, Tabor, while it's in place? Oh, you may win politically an overturn of Tabor, but will you uphold Tabor while it's in place? No, I think not. So where are our common and shared values? Oh, but Governor Ritter says it's very perilous for politicians out there.
And so I'm going to let you tape that, and I said I would. but I have no idea what use you're going to make of it. And it's always interesting as a public official because of the peril you place yourself in knowing that things like this, where there's a taping that's going on, can be really misused or misplaced, or you can take small parts of it out and try and present some part of it as unflattering. And I'm not trying to at all, I'm just using this as an example, not trying at all to ascribe a bad motive to your conduct. We'll wait and see where it winds up.
Governor Ritter, I want to kind of see if there might be a bad motive to your conduct. I wonder if we are allowed to evaluate that on our end. And what do you mean misuse the tape? What do you mean I don't know how you're going to use it? Here is a thought, Governor Ritter. Why don't you use your words properly? Why don't you promote our shared common values in the Constitution and be honest and forthcoming in what you say? And lo and behold, it won't matter how often you got taped at all. You will never have to worry about being taped if you will just be honest and forthright in what you say. And then those who misuse it, they will be found out. They always are. Just like, by the way, Governor Ritter, the folks at East Anglia University. Why is it that a governor of a state has such a problem speaking in front of other people and being taped in it? Oh, by the way, Governor Ritter, did you feel that same sort of frustration when George Allen was caught saying the word macaca? Or did you feel, just like the rest of us, that A, that was foolish, and B, he knew he was being taped and even did it? Which leads us to the next logical conclusion. If you know you're being taped, Governor Ritter, then you'll know how to be careful. And if you ain't a big boy and can't handle that, well, then maybe you ought to be doing something else. I'd work at being a big boy if I were you, and quit beating up on the folks who may have anything critical to say about what you do in your administration.